In our first video, we looked at the voluntary sector in general in Ireland. In our second video, we spoke about Catholic Voluntary Secondary Schools and their founding intention. Now, in this third video, let's think about what all of this has to do with Jesus. Remember, it was noted in our second video that there would be no Catholic Voluntary Secondary Schools if it were not for Christ. So, has Jesus anything to say to our schools today?
Jesus was a teacher. In the Gospels, the term most associated with him by his first followers is the term rabbi, meaning teacher. So what did he teach?
Jesus taught that the kingdom of God, the reign of God, is at hand, that somehow God is present in our lives. He spoke about the blind seeing again, the deaf hearing, the dumb speaking, the lame walking, the sick being healed, prisoners being set free, and good news being proclaimed to the poor. So, Jesus brought healing and hope into a broken world.
It is important to note that Jesus' teaching takes place primarily in two ways: by the words that he speaks and through the encounters, the interactions that he has with people. Jesus meets people, he encounters them, where they are in their real lives.
Jesus taught people that the kingdom of God, the reign of God, is present, and that there is a way that we can make it present in our lives too. He speaks words of forgiveness, words of compassion, words of honesty, and words like these continue to be very important in all of our lives.
There's always a deeper meaning to the gospel stories. And the deeper meaning here surely is that we are the blind, the deaf, the dumb, the poor, and the imprisoned. Some people are physically blind, physically deaf, physically dumb. Some are living in real poverty or in actual prisons. They have to come to terms with those realities in their lives. But in another sense, we can be all blind to what is happening around us. We can be deaf to ourselves and to others. We can be dumb in the face of illness and bereavement. We can be poor in a spiritual sense, even if we have plenty to live on. And we can be imprisoned by all sorts of fears and anxieties. So we too are in need of Christ's message of healing and hope.
The call to become a follower of Christ is really the same today as it was 2,000 years ago. It is the call to reach out and help those who are in need.
It means helping people to overcome their fears, reaching out to people through education so as to open up new worlds of knowledge and insight for them.
It means helping those who are impoverished, easing the burdens of life wherever we encounter them. This is what Jesus' teaching is all about. We cannot solve all of the problems of life, but we can ease the burdens and help people to move on from where they find themselves.
The word education actually means to lead out, to draw people out, to lead them on from the way they are. This is exactly what Christ did. Think of the two disciples on the road to Emmaus, the Samaritan woman at the well. Think of little Zacchaeus in Jericho. Think of Mary Magdalene going to the tomb on Easter Sunday morning. All of these people were preoccupied by concerns, fears and anxieties that they had. But through their interaction with Christ, they come to see things in a different way. They don't become different people, but they can begin to see their lives in a different way through their encounter with Christ.
To teach as Christ taught is to challenge people to live without the crutch or the grudge or the closed mind. It's to invite people to move on from where they are to somewhere better.
So continuing the ministry of Christ is part of what it is to be a Catholic school. If you were to think of the Catholic identity of a school as another burden alongside all the other things that schools have to deal with, then I think it is to misunderstand it. The Christian identity of the school should be liberating. It should be a help. It should be a blessing. It should be something that enables people to cope with all the things that come up in school life. So instead of looking at the Christian tradition as something that we have to impose on our lives, rather look on it as a resource, as we would a lot of other things in school. It's something that we can draw from, something that can help us.
Having watched this video, we invite you to think more about continuing the ministry of Christ in your school. In the pack that CSP has sent to your school, there are ideas on how to do this.